Thank you for tuning in to Ungentrified with Kent Johnson. Ungentrified takes an unfiltered view on pop culture, music, television and film, politics, current events, and topics central to the worldwide Black community. Ungentrified is a safe audio space for celebrating Black culture in its purest form. Thank you for joining Ungentrified. Of course, this is your host, Kent Johnson, and I got a homie here with me today who's also a great guest, and I'll get into who that is shortly, but there's some things we got to talk about before we touch on the main topic of the day. So are you ready to talk about what's been going on in the news?
Yeah, definitely.
So I felt like this was a great topic for both of us since a lot of the work that we do is centered around travel. So Martinique, which is a part of the French Caribbean, a small island, it has this really, really dope art exhibition. Well, I'm going to call it an art exhibition, but it's a set of sculptures called the Anscafard Memorial, and it's a memorial dedicated to slaves that were lost at sea during the slave trade near the island. It's a beautiful set of structures. I've actually been there. Have you been?
No, I've never been to Martinique.
You got to get there. But I've actually been there, and for those who follow me, if you go on, I think my Twitter page, that main photo is in front of the memorial. But someone else was there recently, and guess that race. They decided that it was a bright idea to take nude pictures in front of basically this sacred slave memorial. And the officials are rightfully pissed to the point where they're thinking about suing. They went on statements saying that they have no idea why someone would feel the need to do that, and that they feel like the memorial is tainted now by this perverted act. I mean, it's the very idea of the memorial is to pay respects to those who were lost at sea during, a terrible part of world history. And you decided to get bucket naked in front of them. What's your take on that?
Man, it actually pisses me off to read, to hear something like that. And it's just another classic example of, just people having no discretion, no respect for other humans. And it's really unfortunate. I hope they do press charges. And I just hope that we don't follow the script of being Black people who want to be like, oh, I forgive them.
Right.
Like, no, there's no forgiveness. It's like you need to suffer the consequences of your actions. Otherwise, you can't set an example, and then you deter people from doing foolishness moving forward.
Right. This wouldn't have made it any better, but the pictures are terrible. So it's not like they were stylish pictures by any means. You just being dusty and disrespectful in front of a memorial. Yeah, it's extremely trifling, and it just makes me think of. I'm always trying to remind people of be aware of the culture of the places that you're going. But this doesn't even have to deal with that. Like, this is just personal values or lack thereof in this case. And it kind of blew my mind when I saw the pictures.
Yeah, he's totally uncouth.
Yeah. And if you haven't, make sure that you write out to Martinique. Shout out to Norwegian, who does flights to Martinique out of New York and Miami for a very low cost. But if you're not familiar with Martinique, if you remember back in the day in the 90s, the late night commercials on BET for like sandals, or they would come on when Caribbean Rhythms was on.
Okay.
That's the island that they were always showing is Martinique. And it's full of Black French people, and they have a really dope carnival there too. But you definitely want to make it out there if you haven't. But yeah, please don't get butt naked in front of the memorial if you do take a visit there. All right, so you guys are probably wondering who I've been talking to, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Hey, what's up? This is Nate Fluellen, also known as Worldwide Nate. I have a TV show called Worldwide Nate African Adventures, which is taking me from Chicago to the Congo. It's an adventure travel series, 13 episodes that's broadcasting on UMC.TV. And it's a great adventure. It's demystifying travel for the average American millennial to Africa. So you finding out and discovering everything that you know that exists but is never shown.
I hear that. And that's the important work that you're doing in it. We've had another guest who's done a similar thing, but you've been doing it and really killing it, really giving us a space to find like the luxury moments, the adventure moments, and it's really hype. So if you haven't done so, go ahead and check it out on UMC. But Nate, everybody that I bring on the show, I always ask them what's on their radar at the moment. So what's currently hot to you? What are you listening to? What Netflix rabbit hole have you fallen into? What book are you reading? What's on your radar right now?
Well, I just finished watching The Defenders on Netflix. That's a real good series. I watched Luke Cage. Right. And I was like, let me watch The Defenders. And then now I'm watching Jessica Jones because of The Defenders. Because in the Defenders episode, they hint to Luke Cage and Jessica having some history. Yeah. So I'm like watching that backstory. Then I probably eventually may watch Daredevil and Iron Fist. Those characters aren't that interesting to me, but I may just have something to watch, and that'll like kind of fill some plot holes that the Defenders had, especially going into season 2. Gotcha. So that's what I'm enjoying right now on Netflix, and I'm cautious of what I watch because once I start watching something, I don't have the discipline to stop, so I'll binge watch something like over a period of time. And it's really bad. So Netflix is like poison. It's like the gift and the curse. Yeah, it's like a guilty pleasure. And so that's what I'm watching on Netflix right now. I'm trying to think of another show that I started but didn't get a chance to finish. Oh, I was watching The Rapture, that series with Mass Appeal. So the Just Blaze episode was dope. The Nas, Dave East episode was good. Rhapsody episode was good. I like her. She's a dope MC. Mm-hmm. So I want to get caught up on some hip-hop artists through The Rapture. They did a good job of producing that. And as far as music, man, I listen to so much music, like old and new, but like her album is dope. Yes, from start to finish, it's amazing to see, listen to an album that's just that good, that well produced in this day and age. It reminded me of something that came out in the 90s. So that's a great album. What else? I'm excited about Nas's album to hear that. Pusha T album was dope. Kanye's album was subpar. Yeah, so, but I like to listen to even this guy, this dude from Detroit, his name is Gregory something. He has a good R&B singer. Got some good music, and I just find these like eclectic songs. I'm always on Shazam, so wherever I go, I'm Shazamming it, and then just listening to a variety of things. I have my different playlists for everything, like the workout playlist, the relaxation playlist, the groovy playlist. So music is crucial. It's like therapeutic. So I'm a Spotify guy, and so I love my Gregory Porter. He's a good singer. Oh, Lion Babe, I like her. That's a group with Vanessa Williams' daughter. Yeah, she got some good tracks. I've seen her perform at Soho House a few times, and then even just listening to Slum Village, fantastic volume.
You taking it back?
Yeah, like I listen to that album, like man, it's just some really good stuff on that album. Just taking it back, and yeah, so I just just be finding these like little odd and end songs that really inspire me, just creatively. Yeah. So like the music is very important, and then when it comes to reading, Black Thought's album is tight.
Oh, I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, Streams of Thought Volume 1 is 5 songs, but that's killer. So that's a good album right there. So I always gotta stay true to my hip hop. I'm a hip hop head, so I'm always gonna listen to. That's the first love right there musically.
Yeah, for me, so it's funny you said that you on Spotify. I try, but I'm very adamant about, I spent years building up my music library and creating playlists like pre-Spotify, pre-Tidal, pre-Apple Music, and I'll just, hit shuffle on mine and let it go. And that's what I've been doing a lot lately. Nothing's really picked up my interest. I've been downloading music, but I haven't really listened to it yet. Like I have the Pusha T, and I haven't listened to it yet. It's just been sitting there for 2 weeks. I didn't even bother to download the Kanye. but yeah, like I have stuff just sitting there, waiting for me to listen to it. And I've just been digging back into old stuff, just letting, like my 90s R&B playlist just shuffle, or, my Isley Brothers playlist just shuffle, like just old stuff. I haven't been captivated by anything musically lately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. As far as what I'm watching, I've been digging back into old episodes of Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain.
Okay.
So I've been thankful that there's still seasons left on Netflix. So I've been going through and rewatching some of my favorite ones. Like the Cuba episode was really dope because he went to Santiago, and I've been trying to get to that other side of the island. I haven't made it yet. Everybody's done Havana. I've done Havana, but I want to go to the other side of the island, which is where the majority of the Black Cubans are, and see that environment. So he went there in that episode. So if you're looking to go to Cuba and you want something different, definitely check out the Parts Unknown episode about Cuba. But yeah, so I've been digging back into those. Books-wise, I just ordered Zora Neale Hurston's Barracoon, so it's supposed to arrive today, and that's going to be the next book that I'm reading. But right now, I'm just reading what everybody else is reading in the news and on the internet, waiting for that book to come.
Yeah, I with Anthony Bourdain, I have never been like a huge fan because I always wanted to like find my own voice and not be influenced, because that's what I wanted to do, was have my have my own TV show. So it was kind of like I would look at a few episodes, but not like hardcore where I just watch the entire catalog. So I don't know, maybe like, posthumously I'll, watch his content just more, just to kind of like look, just to see what he was doing. But the thing that I always respected about the episodes that he that I watched is that his writing style with his voiceovers, right, and his whole vocabulary. And that's something I'm excited about, is just getting back to writing blogs, because I was so focused on getting the show and everything. Was like, I gotta be ready. So when the TV network come knocking, right, and then so like a lot of written stuff as far as blog content that I could have published on my site, I have had neglected. So, but now it's just this natural energy inside of me that just wants to just write and get this content out, just to build my writing skills, and then also writing prompts you to read more, just so you can not be writing the same thing and just be inspired by different writers. So I'm excited to like pick up an Afar or a Condé Nast Traveler, and these people that are like dedicated writers, and really like study their article and their writing style, and just be more efficient with my writing. So I'll have like the tools, the tips that are like those top 5 tips or posts, but then I'll have like more of the articles that's like, this is the story, like, take you on that journey, where it's like an interwoven story mixed in with, the tips as well. So it's like some people will want the stuff that's straight to the point, and then some people will want to go on that journey. So I'm excited about, doing that and writing, because it like prep me for when I get into writing my book.
I hear that.
Yeah.
And you actually gave me the perfect segue into our topic of discussion today, which is you and your journey. But you talked about kind of getting back to your roots and getting back to the writing side of Worldwide Nate. So take us a little bit further back than that. Before you became Worldwide Nate, what was your day to day? What was life like for you before that?
Well, I was a hustler of shoes and clothes out of my car. So I graduated from Tennessee State. So when I was on campus, I used to sell the DVDs, CDs. Then got the plug in China, where I was getting the Air Force Ones and Jordans and the shoes. So I was selling shoes and all that stuff to my classmates. And then the summer came and everybody left. Then I went out into the city and discovered that all the people in Nashville had more money than college kids. So then I made a living off of servicing the Nashville folks, and then just kept selling shoes and hustling. And then like competition came in, where black folks be undercutting you with prices when it's just we could all make money off the same price, but they always want to feel that they gotta go cheaper, and so that like dried up the market, or it just made me feel like it wasn't worth my time and energy to just be driving around Nashville and dealing with everybody. Basically like I was basically like Uber of Air Force Ones and Jordans. I get the phone call, okay, I'll be there. Give me 10 minutes. Pop the trunk, sell shoes and then bounce. And then so I got into like mobile marketing tours where I would be a tour manager and I would work for like as little as 4 weeks up to like 3 or 4 months. And then I would be working and save my money so I could travel. And then I would save my money, go travel. And then I eventually wrote my first blog post on MySpace.
Oh, wow.
They had a blog section and then people would read it. And I was like, and they were like, oh, I want to do that. Or they were like, oh, this was tight. And it was nothing spectacular. It was just day one, sun up to sundown. This is what I did. Day 2, day 3. And people would read it. And I was like, wow. Because I didn't think I was like a great writer, but people read it. And I was like, oh, okay, let me, go out and at least I know that I felt the value or was that I can go and take a trip and then I can come and share it with people and they would consume it. So I felt like that was like currency for me because that was feeding my soul to be able to communicate with folks. And it was like, okay, what I'm doing has value because it's like, it just doesn't live and end with me. It can continue on and I can put it out and people can enjoy it and be inspired by it. So that's where the foundation of the blog came in with Worldwide Nate was putting it on MySpace, and I eventually used Apple. I had a MacBook, so they had the iWeb. I think it was iWeb.
Yep. I built a website on iWeb back in the day.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I could build the website for free on iWeb and host it on their little server, or I was able to upload it to like a GoDaddy. And I learned, that's what my first website was on. And then I eventually got some money and had a web developer customize the site. And then I had my custom email and then learned about hosting and all that. And then the website has had many iterations since then. And during that process, I got a camcorder. And then when I got the camcorder, I was like, oh, I want to have a TV show. But then I was like, oh, just the hustle in me was like, well, I got to be ready for when somebody comes knocking on my door because I can't just go to a network and be like, hey, I want a TV show. I got to build up my skill set. So I started learning to taught myself how to edit. I had the 1-to-1 subscription with Apple, and I would go and do sessions to learn how to edit, or I had friends that would edit, and I was using Final Cut Express because I just had a MacBook, and I eventually got a MacBook Pro, got Final Cut. And then my boy, shout out to Emil, he helped me start editing because he saw like the potential in it. He was like, oh, I can help you edit. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So now I'm starting to build a team, people that can see the vision and believe in what I had going on. So it was cool because for years I would take these trips and then I would be like, man, I'm going to get you on one of these trips and get you on these trips. And then eventually I was able to convince the Bahamas to bring me and him down. And then we had covered the Bahamas Speed Week, which was a cool event where they had all these old school sports cars come and do like a race to like in homage of the original Bahamas Speed Week. Mm-hmm. And that was tight, going to the Bahamas and getting back because that was my second time going to the Bahamas, and then also bringing my homie down, and then that was like the beginning of it, So we just kept creating content. Creating content and started working with some brands like Ford and Lincoln and got some budgets to produce branded content in these different web series, working with thegrio.com and, just figuring it out. Just the battle of attrition. And I looked up and I'm like, here I am, executive producer, creator, host of a TV show.
And I always tell people, you never know who's watching. Like, as long as you're creating something, somebody's watching, somebody's looking, and you never know when that moment for you to pop will occur. But yeah, so do you still have your MySpace page? Have you ever tried to look up the MySpace page?
Last week I logged in, but the blog post isn't there. But the videos that are uploaded, like the screenshot is there, but they won't play. So I think it's like something funny with the server. Because I was doing a speech. I was actually a guest speaker at the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi last week. And then in my presentation, I wanted to like have a screenshot of my first blog post, but it wasn't there. So I just used like the logo of MySpace. But I logged in. But it was funny because my friends that I'm still friends with are on there. So I'm looking through, like the top 8 and just the friends. So I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, I remember her. And I'm like, oh, I don't remember her. I remember him. So it's cool. And then everybody's original photo is there. So it's just like memory lane of like the people I was interacting with from that was like 03,
Yeah.
04, 05.
I'm trying to think of. See, I deleted when I left MySpace, I deleted it, so I don't have no reference of mine online. But I'm trying to think when I was just like, all right, I'm done. I was living down here in Atlanta, so this was still around like 2006. I think 2007 was when I cut it off officially. But yeah, I wish that I had the foresight to be like, let me save the stuff that I had on there.
Yeah.
But of course, nobody's thinking about that at the time. It's crazy to think. I was telling my little sister about College Club back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And how like that was the College Club, and really Black Planet was ahead of the game back in the day. But social networks didn't start with Facebook, as a lot of people think that they have. But,
Yeah.
So okay. So you transition from making the block hot with the shoes, being the Uber Jordans and Air Force Ones, to now creating your own content, getting paid to do it as well, and getting yourself in a space where now you have, monikers like producer behind your name and editing and all of the sides of it. What was that moment that really kind of clicked for you, like where you decided to make Worldwide Nate your full focus? The moment that you knew this was what you were supposed to be doing?
I think that moment happened when I eventually cut a deal with ebony.com, and then my content was hosted on their website. And so the digital director he had called me one day, real casual. He was like, hey man, our normal travel editor, he had a death in the family, and then, he can't make this trip. And I know it's last minute, so I understand if you can't make it. But if you can go next week, can you go down to the Bahamas and cover the Miss Universe pageant? I said, what? Yeah, I could go. There ain't no question. He's like, just let me know. I'm like, I'm letting you know right now. Book me there. I'm going. So that's when I went, and it was a mind-blowing experience because I met all these other journalists. And so that they had different groups of press people come, so that my group had a lot of other Black journalists. And so that was my first time meeting people that like were professionals in different travel institutions. So people that were travel writers for magazines or film crews, and they did travel segments. So I just learned a lot about all the options, all the career paths that you could have within travel. And now it didn't encourage me to want to go get a job. I still wanted to do my own thing, but I was seeing like the lane that I had myself, because at that point I was focused on video. And video for the digital space was very unique at the time and brand new. Blogging was still the thing that people were trying to figure out. And I was like, okay, well, I'll blog, but I can do video, because I'm like, well, I was kind of like in denial. I was like, I'm not a blogger. I'm a TV host, but I just need to utilize this blogging platform to get to the TV. Mm-hmm. And so that was my approach. So I felt like I was an outlier in the game. And but unbeknownst to me, I still was a blogger, because even though if you're doing video, you still have to write the script out. You're still writing involved, Mm-hmm. So as much as I thought I was getting, circumventing that process, I was still, at the end of the day, a writer, because everything has to be written out or developed. You have to tell a story. It has to have a beginning, middle, and end. So, but yeah, so that trip like really was like, oh man, I could do this, because I met so many other people that were incredible. And I would say I was more motivated first by the travel and the experiences. And then when I had a lot of friends that were getting travel shows and stuff, I had to reevaluate. I was like, oh, what did we originally set out to do? Because I was kind of like chasing press trips and trips and experiences, but those don't pay the bills, right. Or it still wasn't like satisfying to my overall goal. So I had to really like just have a self-reflection and reevaluate everything and get focused and then trim the fat on all the stuff that was going on in my life, because that's what I wanted to do. And then once I focused on that, it's like, here I am. So it's always that thing of like mind over matter and priorities and focus.
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have about what both you and I do, what you do with Worldwide Nate and what we've done with Black and Abroad is that that everybody who's doing things in travel are getting paid for it, and that's not the case.
Right.
And some people are okay with that, but that may not be necessarily what they put out to the world. It takes a lot to get from someone who's creating content to someone who's getting, compensation for creating that content. And a lot of people don't see the work that gets to that point. And it takes a while, and there's a lot of competition out there. I mean, you have to really differentiate yourself from everybody else. But not everybody's making money doing it. We all get free trips thrown at us, and people want us to stay at a hotel for free. And that's fine in some instances if I was already going there or if it was a place I wanted to go. But like you said, that free night at the Marriott ain't going to pay the bills, or that free flight ain't going to cover this light bill. So, if you're looking to get into that space, be ready to have other supplemental income moments until you get to a point to where people are paying you for what you have to say. Because if you do it right and if you do it in your own voice, people will come with the checks. Yeah. It's just going to take some time to get there.
Exactly.
So, okay. So now, Worldwide Nate television show, you are now in a space where it's a little bit different than what you were doing before. When you started, you were the one documenting. You had put your team together. You were the one, in some cases filming, writing, doing all of this work. How does it feel now to have a TV show and now have a whole crew doing it with you? You kind of shifted a little bit from being a one-stop shop to, some days now you're just the talent. So how does that work? And how are you shifting gears in that?
Well, it's not really hard. It's not a hard shift. It's something I enjoy, not having to do everything. But just because I've been doing it for so long, I still had those urges and inclinations to try to do everything. And then my co-executive producer, Nichelle, she's always like, "You can't do it all." And I'm like, okay. It's like I have to realize it. And so, but in the first season, wasn't the biggest budget, so I still had to wear multiple hats, which was fine because I was able to learn a lot of the skill sets of the job. Mm-hmm. So now moving forward, because I had an experience, it'll be even better, easier for me to hire the right people or assist in filling the right people or making sure people are doing their job because I know what it takes, what needs to be done. And then even just on a production level, as far as the budget and timing, and even if the budget isn't there, the hustler spirit kicks in. It's like, okay, how can I, figure out how to still get this job done in a quality manner, but if I don't have the budget for it, still get it done. So it's just even something simple as location scouting, which is very key. Because a lot of times we were fortunate to have these ideas and they were executed right, or we worked with the right people that were able to make it happen. But with season 2, the countries that I would go film in, I would definitely go location scout prior to us filming, and then so I would have met people, done the location scouting, and then set the expectations. So when we come back and film, it's just seamless. Mm-hmm. So it's still, so that would be a field producer job, but it's really I would be the field producer, but go ahead of time. So then when I'm back in the States and then we're doing pre-production, all those questions or concerns, they could already be, addressed. So that by the time we go film, everything is just laid out. So it's just learning a lot of stuff. So even when a major network like a travel or something comes knocking, I'm able to cut that deal, then it's just going to be even easier. Or I wouldn't say easier because it's still work, but I would just be able to set expectations from the jump and let people know, I'm not messing around. This is because I've done all this.
Right. Was it hard to let go? Because, I don't know about you. I definitely feel about things I've created. I mean, it's like your baby, Yeah. So it's some parts that you're like, I'm not ready to give that up just yet, or I don't know if I trust you to have the same vision or heart about it that I would. How do you get to a space where you're like, you know what? Okay, I have to let this go in order for me to be better at the ultimate destination?
Well, it wasn't hard for me to let go because I'm a very trusting person, and I grew up in like a it takes a village type atmosphere environment. So I like the teamwork environment or just philosophy. But the hard part is when you do let go, when you trust that people will do their job and then they didn't do their job up to par. And that's the hard part. Letting go is not fine, but it's just like, okay, do your job. You got one job, and then if you don't do it correctly, then those are the times that's like brought the most like stress and disappointment and frustration when you look at footage and it's not shot right. And it's like, and then we got to do extra stuff to make it work, and then we got to work harder. So just learning those things as far as moving forward has been invaluable. So now that's like, when it's 20 years, 30 years down the line, and then somebody is looking at me like, how do you know all this stuff? It's like, well, I've been there, done that, unfortunately.
Right. But for me, I'm working on it. It's so hard for me to let go of certain things, or to not the delegation part, but more so once I've given it to you, releasing it from my like mind space of responsibility. Because I still feel like, all right, if you don't do it right, that means I got to come in and do it afterwards. And that thought is still kind of lingering. So I'm still giving space to the thought, and I'm feeling like, okay, that could definitely be impacting the other things I could be doing. Yeah. I'm still worried about that. And that comes from those few times where people did cut up and didn't do what they were supposed to. And I'm like, man, now I got to go back and try to fix it. And now it's extra work. And I could have just did it right the first time. So I'm working really hard on that. And it came from learning that, all right, your business or your brand can't grow if you're still trying to do everything. Yeah. Like, you look at major companies and major organizations or major brands, it's not one person behind it. There's a team. So as much as you want to be, hands in on every single thing, there's some things you got to let go to people and trust that they'll do. It's a hard lesson to learn, though. But it comes with growth and forcing yourself to kind of change your outlook on things. So, all right. So now you brought up the show, and now you guys are on your second season. You've been working your way through the continent of Africa, showing people, dope cities, dope moments, dope food. So far, what's been your favorite city?
In Africa?
Yeah, in Africa.
Oh, Durban.
Yeah. Hands down. You didn't even think about that.
Yeah, Durban. I'm a Zulu. I love Durban. It's like, it's paradise. I love the Zulu culture. Got warm water with the beaches. It reminds me of LA and Miami. Yeah,
I always tell people it's like South Africa's Miami.
Yeah. But it still has that like laid back LA vibe, because it's like, it's really dope, and I love it. I have a great time there. I got some great friends. Stay at the Oyster Box Hotel right on the beach, and then my friend Chef Lungi, she's pretty awesome, and then other people with the Durban Tourism Board, my homegirl Ntombe, and just some great people in Durban.
Yeah. Shout out to Durban. I don't know if I'm going this year. I've been the last 2 years. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it this year. But yeah, I do enjoy Durban. Like you said, it does feel like a mini Miami. And I'm surprised that you came right out with Durban as your favorite city.
Oh, yeah. Man, the first time I went, I landed, and you land at King Shaka International Airport, and it's like, I was like, oh man, because I grew up watching Shaka Zulu, the series, the TV miniseries, and I just into hip hop with the Zulu Nation. I was like, oh, this is what the Zulus are. Like, I'm sold.
Yeah. So Durban is your favorite spot. Is there a place in Africa that you don't ever need to visit again?
Nah, man, I've had all great experiences in Africa, so I can't even say that there's a place that I wouldn't want to go back to. I've been to 9 countries, so I've had a variety of experiences, and I've been to a few of them twice. But yeah, even like going to Goma, Congo, like, it's not the prettiest. Well, it is pretty, and I see the beauty in it. But some people would be like, I don't want to ever go to Congo, or people would be discouraged to go to Congo. But I always want to go to those places that that you wouldn't even think about going. So even people that are from Congo, when I tell them, they're like, "Oh, you went to Congo?" And they would assume probably Kinshasa is the capital. And I said Goma, they're like, "Oh, wow, you really went to Congo?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And that makes them happy. You can see them light up to be like, "Oh, okay, an American guy went to Congo, went to his country."
All right, so you've been to 9 countries and some twice.
No, 10 now.
Oh, so 10
I think
now.
it's 10 now, yeah, because I just went to Seychelles.
Okay.
So I think that makes it 10.
So what's next on your checklist for destinations in Africa? Where are you thinking about next?
Oh, well, I took my DNA test, so I found out, so I'm Nigerian, Cameroon, and South African. So I got to go to Cameroon and Nigeria, and then going to more West African countries. I want to go to Ethiopia, Mozambique. I want to go there, Madagascar, Senegal. I mean, I can go down the list. And Namibia, Botswana, and then, eventually get to northern African countries. Those will probably be my last ones. Most people start off in Egypt and Morocco, but I'll do those last. Niger, I hear it's dangerous, but I want to go there. But my goal is, that's my first goal. I want to get to all 54 countries. Yeah, I want to go to Eritrea, Somalia, Djibouti, all that.
Yeah, and shout out to Anthony Bourdain. He said that Nigeria was it was his favorite place. It was the most unique country he's ever been to. So, yeah, he did an episode, I think in the last season about, he went to a couple of cities, and I haven't seen that episode yet, but I heard it was really good. But he said, hands down, it's the most unique place he's ever been to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got some friends, one of my boys from college, Tennessee State, he lives there, so I got the right people on the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the opportunity to go. But I'm gonna try to. Hopefully, I can go in November.
Yeah, and I know the work you've been doing with the show has been focusing on Africa, but I know one of the things I've been trying to do lately is trying to get people to know the importance of visiting countries that are in the diaspora but aren't necessarily in the continent of Africa. So I know you've been to Brazil.
Yeah.
You've been to Cuba. You've been to Colombia. What's your favorite Black destination that's not in Africa?
Oh, Brazil.
Brazil?
Yeah, I've been to Rio 8 times.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I always tell people, they both went left, our boat went right. We speak English, they speak Portuguese. Because when I'm in Brazil, I see people that look just like people I grew up with or family members. And it's really, the main difference is just they the South, they the super South Black people, and we the up North Black people of the Western Hemisphere. But we all came from Africa. Yeah.
Is there a place that you didn't receive the reception that you thought you would as a Black person?
No, I get, man, I've been fortunate to get love everywhere. I feel my Black skin is a blessing. It's like the organic passport. So it's like people find out I'm from America, and it's just a fascination with Black Americans because it's just hip hop and entertainment and all the celebrities, and they just, people are very aware of our struggle and what we've gone through, and they just want to, get to know us as and even as an American in general, because Americans just don't travel.
Right.
Like statistically, it's 300 million Americans. 26% of us hold a passport, and just even only 3% travel to Africa, the entire continent yearly. So that's only like 11 million people, or 1.2 million people for the whole continent. And other countries is still small. The majority of countries Americans travel to is Canada and Mexico. Even Europe is only 22%. That's really a small number, and in South America is in the teens. So it's just really like people want to have that connection to America, and that's currency. It's really like Black currency. And then I love people, so I'm a people person. I'm very engaging and welcoming, and then I just enjoy that interaction, that cultural exchange. And that's why I never get tired of travel. People ask me, "Do you get tired of travel?" It's like, no, it's infectious because every experience is different.
So you never get tired of it?
No, I never. Only reason I was excited to come back from Africa after 33 days this time was because I was so excited just to follow up on all the leads and experiences that I had, just to do business and just like really get back and kick it for the summer in America. But other than that, it felt like it's like I blinked and I was just, I was like, oh, okay, I'm back in the States. But it didn't feel like I had been gone a long time because every day was so exciting in Africa and I was having so much fun. And then some people were like, oh, I feel like forever you were gone. I'm like, not for me. I just feel like it was just yesterday. Like I need to go back, or even I just landed in the States on Monday and then flew to Atlanta on Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, I just never get tired of traveling.
Yeah. I think for me, the weariness kicks in when I have to come back. When I'm coming in and out of America. So like over the last couple of weeks, I did Colombia, then I came back for like a week and a half, then I had to fly to New York, came back for a day, flew to Thailand the next day, was gone for 2 weeks. Now when I was in Thailand for those 2 weeks, like you said, it was like a blink and I was back, and I bounced around from city to city while I was there. Mm-hmm. So that, you're on the high of like, all right, I'm constantly moving, learning something new. Then I get back here, 2 days later, I got to fly to California, and I'm there for a couple of days, and I'm back in Atlanta now, and I'm here for another week and a half, then I'm gone for another 2 weeks, and I'm back for a few days, and then I'm gone for another week. So that's when I'm like, man, I want to chill and stay, one place for a minute. When it's that bouncing back and forth now, if I'm going from country to country and it's not me coming home for just like a second, then I'm good. But I think that's just a little taste of coming back. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, I got to go again. I'm only here to wash clothes and, and check mail. Yeah. So that's when I get beat up. So, I mean, being on the go all the time, do you ever feel like there's a moment where, or what do you do really to kind of make sure that you're always in a space where, you have that excitement around travel? Is it something that you do? Is it just the sheer fact that you're always on the go? Is that what keeps you going?
It's like a pinky in the brain thing. It's like, what are we going to do today? What we always do. Try to take over the world. It's on autopilot. So I just enjoy being in a new place, a new experience, the new possibility of what the day in life can offer. That's just my philosophy. You gotta live like there's no tomorrow. In life we all lose people close to us. So those few people that I have lost, it made me like really be like, okay, balls to the wall. Like I'm gonna enjoy every moment that I have, every day that I wake up, and inspire people, and just get to the point where I'm good. I mean, my ultimate goal right now, I won't say ultimate, but a big goal of mine is just to travel to as many countries with my mother. So when she leaves, it's like I can have like these memories with her. So I mean, we've been to London, we've been to Paris twice, we've been to Trinidad and Tobago, we've been to New Zealand, Australia.
Yes, I remember the Australia pictures.
Yeah, so that. It's like, I got in casual conversations like, oh yeah, me and my mom was here, or we just had a great time. We did a road trip from London to Paris and stayed at a nice 5-star hotel in London and had a great time. And she's been able to meet my friends that live around the world. And so we've been having some dope moments. So Asia is the next big trip we want to do. Go to Japan, Korea, Beijing. She wants to see the Great Wall. Go to Hong Kong, and then my cousin lives in Macau, so we would do like that Asia trip. And then she, cause she hasn't been to Asia. She's been to Africa. She's been to South America. Europe. We've been to Europe a few times, and we've been down under. So it's like we knock out Asia, and then once I get more plugged in Africa, we could do some African countries. So I'm just trying to just have those experiences with my mom, and that's priceless right there.
Yeah, it is. I've been trying to get my mom to hop on the trip with me. Mom, if you're listening, you see other people are doing it. You need to get with it. Now, my dad and I have been on a trip. We went to Jerusalem, Israel. We were in Israel, but we spent the bulk of our time in Jerusalem. That was back in December of last year. And that was a really dope trip. And like you said, it creates these memories that are a little bit different than, you just hanging out, going to see her. when you're back home, you know. So yeah, Mom, come on, let's go somewhere. I'm trying to get her on it, and then I've been personally like, look, where do you want to go? Anywhere in the world, I'll take you. Where you want to go? And I just gotta, give her a little kick to make sure that she understands why I'm trying to take her somewhere. So hopefully she's listening.
And on that note, we're going to take a brief break, but we'll be right back to wrap up this episode of Ungentrified after a word from one of our sponsors. This episode of Ungentrified is brought to you by Black and Abroad. Black and Abroad is an online travel community dedicated to inspiring and celebrating the experiences of Black travelers and expats. Interested in traveling with a hand-picked group of individuals just like you? Check out Black and Abroad's curated travel experiences in destinations worldwide. Upcoming trips include Johannesburg in December for Afropunk. You can find out more about Black and Abroad and its upcoming journeys by visiting weareblackandabroad.com.
So you brought up, wanting to be an inspiration for people. Who inspires you to do what you do?
Well, my professor in college, he wrote an autobiography. It's called Crossing Cultures. And in his autobiography, he documented his travels to over 80 countries. And then when he gave me the book, he signed it. He had challenged me to go see more countries than him to be an entrepreneur. So that was like the catalyst that grew all the seeds that were planted over my life. Because my mother, when I was a teenager, she would go on missionary trips with the church. So she's been to Brazil 4 times, but her city is Sao Paulo. She don't go to Rio. But she's been to Africa, Europe, the Caribbean. She went to Buenos Aires last year with the church
too. Be getting it.
Yeah, she be getting it. I just thought about that. So yeah, they get those great prices and them subsidized trips, so she's on it. And then I had my cousins that played ball overseas. My uncle played ball, so I had hearing all the stories growing up. Had a cousin spent the summer in Greece. So as a kid, it's like, okay, I could do that. It's just something that you do when you're older and grown. And then so my professor challenged me. I was like, oh yeah, it's my time. And I just took it to the next level when I got addicted to just traveling and all the differences in the world. So it's just something I just really love, just everything, just being gone but then also the flip side is that I enjoy being at home, sitting on my couch watching Netflix too. So it's like a best of both worlds. I love being social, but I love being by myself and having my isolation and alone time. So it's just a balance.
Yeah. So have you spoken to that professor recently at all?
Yeah, we talk. Well, I'm gonna say we talk all the time, but last year I went to homecoming and we had breakfast, and then we were talking. He was telling me about some place in Brazil I'd never heard of. So he's just like the OG. He's a triple OG. It just never fails. That's my fascinating guy. So we had breakfast and he was telling me the story. So he grew up in Oklahoma and grew up Christian. So he would donate money to the missionaries. And then as he became an adult, he worked for the Peace Corps. Mm-hmm. And then he was moving up in the Peace Corps, and he had applied for this upper level management job, and he didn't get it. So he got upset. He was living in New York. He got mad, sold all his earthly possessions, and went to go live with the missionaries that he donated money to as a kid. And guess in which country he moved to?
South Africa.
Congo.
To the Congo.
In the 70s, white guy was like, yo, he's like, F it all. I'm about to go move to the Congo and be with these missionaries that I grew up giving money to. Like, what? And then he's a Christian man. He's married. His wife is Hindu. So they had a Hindu wedding and a Christian wedding. And he's been married to his wife for 20 plus years, maybe 30. So it's just, this guy's just really push the limits of what's possible for me. I might not necessarily do everything he's done where I want to do those things, but it's just when you come across closed-minded people or people that are just limited or live in these boxes, I've been exposed to these radical thoughts, so to speak, that they would consider radical, that I guess have become normal to me because it's like, oh, well, I have more of a temperament and patience because it's like, oh, well, that's your belief, when it comes to certain things, but I'm not going to, try to stop you from believing that or say you crazy or whatever. It's just like, oh, that's what works for you, My professor, he's like, hey, I'm Christian, but my wife is Hindu, but I'm not going to let our relationship or our religious beliefs stop the love that we have for each other. And it's just like, when you think about it, it's like, dang, I'm kind of ingrained to be like, oh, you have to be equally yoked. But it's like, well, this is the a different. It's a counter narrative because they've been married and for years, and there's people that's equally yoked to get divorced.
Right. And
so
being equally yoked can mean so many different things.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay. So it makes you think like, wow, anything is possible.
So I know you're from Chi-Town, from
Yeah.
Chicago, and we were talking about like people's backgrounds being. What gives them insight on particular places. You talked about your professor and his experience. What does your Chi-Town background do for your travels? How does that help you?
Man, being from the Chi, it made me fearless. And it's interesting because some people from Chicago be like, oh, I ain't going there. But being from Chicago, and it's not like I grew up in like the city hardcore. Like my dad lived in the city. I grew up in the burbs. But even just, my experiences from, my affluent friends and my hood friends, like all those experiences have prepared me to be able to go anywhere in the world and never be scared and just be wise and street smart as well. So I feel like being from Chicago it's been a blessing because you have those. It's like life revolves around being in the city. So you may not live, or at least I didn't live in the hood where I'm hearing gunshots and sirens, but I went to those areas, or I have friends that lived in those areas. So just that interaction and those experiences, hanging out with them and just having to know like, okay, I gotta, I can't do this here in this neighborhood, but I can do that here, and just knowing, taking those same basic principles of living in the Chi. And just being aware, I'm able to take that around the world. And then people be like, oh, don't go there, that's dangerous. Now, I'm not going to be a fool. Right. But when I go there and I'm like, oh, I'm just got to be, this is like bring my Chicago attributes and awareness to wherever I am. And it's like, oh, okay. And then people, be like, oh, you scared? I'm like, no, I'm from the south side of Chicago. I ain't scared to go nowhere in the world. So if you take that approach, you'll be good.
Yeah. The same thing for me. I'm from Baltimore, so when people are like, oh, I'm not going there, it's dangerous. I'm like, but we live in Baltimore.
Yeah,
We're from Baltimore. So, yeah, as long as you have your wits about you, and I think a lot of us in travel, well, bulk of us do, you should be good. So I'm always tripping out when people are like, some places unsafe, when if they did a couple of minutes of research on their block or in their city. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's more dangerous where you at every day versus where you going.
Go look up how many sexual predators live in your neighborhood. You're like, oh, I live in a bad area.
Right. So, Nate, man of the world, Chi-Town, you're based in L.A., but when you're here, you're based in L.A., right?
Yeah.
But usually the world is your home. When you settle down, when you slow up, and the world calls you to rest your bones somewhere and live your chill senior citizen life, where do you see yourself calling home? Is it going to be back in the U.S.? Is it somewhere, another city in the world? Where is it at?
I love L.A., but what I think is going to happen, what I hope happens, is that after I visit all 54 countries in Africa, then I'll figure out which country I will have another home in. So I don't know if I would just say I would be settled in one particular place. I think I would always want to have a place in LA so I can still be close to family, have access to family and friends. But then I still want to as I create more attachment to Africa and get closer to tapping in back to my roots, I definitely want to have a place in Africa on the continent, because with my travels to Africa, I'm finding out, which is a beautiful thing, is that they embrace me because there's that connection. It's like they looked. It's very interesting. It's like the Africans look to us as far as thought leaders in the diaspora. But I was telling the Africans, I was like, but y'all got the army. It's like y'all got the army. So it's very interesting how or at least I look at it, it's like y'all got the army, y'all got the manpower. But then I guess they look at us as we had the intellectual, advancements or just the strategy, and they admire that. And so I think it's by design, there is this underlying effort to keep us separate. But once those entities come together and power up, then it'll be a whole paradigm shift. I think that with me even speaking at the U.S. Embassy, being a guest at the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, for them, me being able to encourage them and connect with them and then let them know like how they already had the tools already to be successful. Because even after I spoke, a lot of the Kenyans, they were like, oh, well, I don't have the money to travel. How can I do a travel blog? And I told them, I was like, well, you live in Kenya. The entire world desires to come here.
Right.
You could just blog about Nairobi in your country and then build up your content and your skill set and find your voice here. And then that'll take you to other places. So it's just even that simple thought, they weren't aware of it, but it's like you have everything right here in front of you and you don't have to go anywhere to get content. It's right here in your own country. So, it's like always start at home and build that up and then people will come.
Yeah. I haven't figured out where I would want to settle down. I think in the last couple of years, the options have changed. And I always joke with people like, whenever I'm going somewhere, I'm looking to see if I can post up for the long term, especially, since there's no telling where America may go as far as laws, people in power. And I'm trying to live comfortably when I get up there. I'm trying to live comfortably now. So some spots I'm like, you know what, maybe I need to come back here and chill for a couple of months. So I don't know yet. I've thought about Joburg because it just feels like home,
Yeah.
I haven't been to Brazil yet, but I know someone who's moved down there in the last year, and they look to be loving it.
Man, so nice.
Yeah. Thailand was a surprise. The last part of my trip I spent in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, and
it's really friendly for like expats or.
Yeah, and there's a whole like thriving Black community there. So you still got that little piece of home there, and people who there's Black businesses in Chiang Mai, and the infrastructure is there. It just felt, I was like, man, I could really post up here, and I'm already plotting to go back later on this year and spend at least like a month there. So I'm trying to, hopefully my schedule allows it, but I'm definitely considering it. That's how much I enjoyed it in that first trip. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Atlanta is it for me. I don't think it is. But yeah, the older I get and the more connected to the world I get, the less I see America being, like the final stop for me. Yeah, I don't know anymore. So Nate, before we head out for today, first thank you for coming on and sharing how you became Worldwide Nate and what that takes to maintain that title of Worldwide Nate. Tell the people where they can A, check out your show, and B, find you on the internets. Where can they do those things? So
the TV show, once again, is Worldwide Nate African Adventures. It's streaming on UMC.TV. This UMC is Urban Movie Channel. And so Mr. Bob Johnson, the man that founded BET, he's the owner of that streaming platform. So, if you come watch the show, you're supporting a Black business. So that's always a plus. You can find me on social media at Worldwide Nate, Nate, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I got a YouTube page, but, just come check me out on Instagram. Come follow me, give me some likes, holla at me, for travel tips, subscribe to my website. So definitely cranking out more content in Africa. So you can just go to my website and have these different resources to make your travel to primarily Africa and then, always all around the world easy. And that's pretty much where you can find me.
Cool. And what's next? What's next for Nate?
Well, what's next is I'm going back to Africa in November. And I'm excited about that because this previous trip, I was able to work with Patagonia, this company in the States, and they gave me some wetsuits that I donated to Surfers Not Street Children, this organization in Durban where they encourage, they help get kids off the street using surfing and mentorship. So I had a great time filming with them in my TV show that I knew when I came back I wanted to be able to donate to this organization. So reached out to Patagonia. They showed some love. They gave me some wetsuits and some surfboards, but I was only able to take the wetsuits down on this previous trip. So when I go back, I had a support to take more wetsuits and the surfboards down there. So I'm excited about that to give back. I'm going to do some screenings in Kenya again for my TV show, but with some higher up people, eventually probably meet the president of Kenya. So I got some contacts to help facilitate that, and then just do some more speaking engagements in different countries in the continent, and then all the while being in development for season 2, which will probably film next year. I would like to film it in March, but we'll see when we actually film. But right now it's just like pre-production development, not even pre-production, it's development for season 2, and that's what I have going on, and just some more little trips here and there. And just creating some great content.
Right, because right now you're on hiatus, right? The show's still dropping new episodes?
No, all the episodes are streaming. So
okay,
you can
they're
go,
all out there now.
Yeah, you can go to umc.tv right now. They got a 7-day trial where you can watch content for free. So you can really binge watch all 13 episodes. They're like 30-minute episodes in 7 days if you want to be cheap. But if you get hooked on the show and you want to watch other content on umc.tv, it's only like $5 a month for the subscription. So, you want to keep your subscription. It's only going to hit your pockets for $5.
Cool. And where did you go in this first season? I know you did South Africa, you did
Lesotho, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Rwanda, and Congo.
Wow. All right. So definitely check out the first season on UMC. That's at umc.tv. And check out Worldwide Nate at Worldwide Nate on basically every social media.
WorldwideNate.com is the website.
Yes. And of course, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Kent, KENT_ESQ. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at UnGentrifiedPod, and of course on our website, UnGentrifiedPodcast.com. If you like what you hear, and I hope you do me a favor. A, tell a friend. B, subscribe if you haven't already, and you should absolutely be subscribing. And C, if you haven't done this already, rate the show, leave a review. These are things that help me immensely and keep this thing going. Because as I told you guys before, it's a thing. I'm committed now. We doing this. So again, thanks for listening. Nate, thanks for coming on, and we'll check you next time.
Thank you.